I've got 10 different Android features that you've probably never heard of before, and I dare say are secret Android features. And some of these you may have heard of before if you're like super familiar with Android, but a couple of these I didn't even know about, and I'm a professional computer expert, so I think you'll like these. Starting off with number 1, this is a AGBore feature, it's the keyboard. And this allows you to very easily capitalize the first letter of a word if it's not already, without having to go and selecting the letter individually and deleting it and retyping it. All you have to do is double tap on the word to highlight it, and then press the Shift key, or the Shift button, and then it will capitalize that first letter of the word. And there you go. Next up, number 2. Now, obviously in Android, you know that when you swipe down from the top, it brings up some notifications and a couple quick settings right there. But did you know that if you actually swipe down with 2 fingers, you can automatically fully expand the quick settings menu, so you don't have to swipe down twice like you normally would with just 1 finger. If you want to immediately get to that, 2 fingers down, and then it expands it all the way. And next up, number 3 is actually also related to the notification bar, and that is that instead of having to go and swipe down to look at your notifications, you can actually just tap and hold above or on the notification bar, and it'll temporarily just bring down a quick view of the notifications you have for as long as you hold it down. And when you release it, it goes back up. So this might be easier if you just want a really quick view and you don't want to have it interrupting something you're doing. Really neat feature. All right, on to number 4. I think a lot of you are gonna like this one, and it has to do with Google Lens. So you know with Google Lens, it's basically Google's AI analysis of pictures you can use. So after you take a picture of something, you tap the Google Lens button and it'll kind of identify what's in it. But you can actually use Google Lens after taking a picture of a business card to automatically add that person with all the information on that business card as a new contact. So all you have to do is take a picture of the business card, and then again, tap that Google Lens button, and you'll now have the option to add contact using that information. It'll automatically populate all the fields, so super easy, especially if you're at, I don't know, like a conference or a meeting with a bunch of people. You can just take pictures of everyone's business cards without having to type everything in manually. And you can also use the same idea on different situations. For example, if you're on a website and someone's contact information is on there, it doesn't have to be a business card. You can take a picture of that page and then use that information and also add a contact that way. So pretty versatile, and I'm sure you can come up with other uses of Google Lens yourself. All right, number 5. This one's good if you're really clumsy and lose your phone all the time, and that is the ability to put some custom text and information on the lock screen, such as your name, maybe your contact, email, something like that. So if you lose it, then theoretically someone can find it and return it to you. To do this, you go to Settings, and then it might look a little bit different depending on what version you're using, but in Android 9, you go to the Security menu, and then Screen Lock, and then Screen Lock Message. You can type whatever you want there, and then now it will show whenever the screen is even locked. All right, number 6, this one's a little bit more common, but if you never tried it before, you might not know about it, and that is that you can actually put shortcuts to specific settings pages right on your home screen without having to go into the settings every time and finding that menu. So to do that, you just go and create a new widget, however you do that, depending on your version of Android, and then go to the settings widget, drag it onto the home screen, and when you do that, it will give you an option of what actual setting menu you want to add. So you can choose from basically any of them, like battery, display, app info, and then when you click on that on the home screen, it'll take you directly to that specific part of the settings. All right, number 7, this one I know you're gonna find super useful if you didn't know about it already, and it is how you can view notifications that you already closed by accident or whatever and you wanted to see what it said. What you can do, kind of related to the last one we just talked about, is create a settings widget and then select notification log. Now, as far as I know, you can't get to this through the normal settings window, or if you can, then it's really hidden deep. But regardless, when you click on this shortcut on the home screen, it'll bring you to a log of every recent notification you've had and all sorts of information about each one. And if you want to see the specific text of what the notification said, you can tap to expand one of these notifications and look for the little field in the code that says android.text, and then that'll tell you exactly what the notification was, not just the app that sent it. So this one's super useful. I found it useful in several situations where, I don't know, a notification went away or expired or whatever, and I wanted to know what it was, and this came in handy. All right, number 8, this one has to do with Gboard also, and it is how you can enable the one-hand keyboard mode. So to do this, you hold down the comma key, and then it'll pop up two little bubbles, and you want to move your finger onto the one that's like a little hand on a keyboard, and then that will put it into one-hand keyboard mode, and you can switch sides by pressing the little arrow. And actually, if you click the one little icon, you can specifically select exactly where you want to move the keyboard around. So you can have it up higher or lower, whatever, and then you can select to put it there. So this one's going to be especially useful if you have one of the bigger phones, like a Pixel XL or something, and you have trouble reaching when you're texting with one hand. Now it should be a lot easier. All right, number 9, we have feature flags. Now these are only going to be available in Android 9.0 and later. So if you have something earlier than that, it's not going to be there. But you know how in Google Chrome, there's like the special flags menu, which has a bunch of different hidden settings? Well, now Android apparently has that as well, hidden in the developer settings. So quickly, to enable developer options, all you have to do is go into the About phone and then go to the build number and keep tapping on that, and eventually it will enable the developer menu, which shows up under System. And obviously there's a whole bunch of settings in here that are super advanced. We're not going to talk about any of these except the one that is called feature flags. So find that and tap on that, and you'll find some new settings that are legitimately hidden. The notable ones we can mention, first of all, are the settings About phone v2. And when you disable this, it simply moves the About phone menu from the main settings into the system settings. So if you find yourself, I don't know, never using that, or you want to have a more organized settings page, you can just enable that. Then the next flag, which is settings Bluetooth while driving. No surprise, this will enable a new feature called Use Bluetooth while driving. And you can view where this is by going to Connected Devices, Connection Preferences, and there you'll see this new option for Use Bluetooth while driving automatically. And then the final one we could talk about here is Settings Zone Picker 2. And when it's enabled by default, what happens is when you disable the auto time zone in the date and time settings, it'll just look more organized, like you can pick your region. It doesn't show everything at once. It's a little bit easier to use. And if you have it disabled, which I believe is how it looks like before Android 9.0, when you click select time zone, it just shows them all at once, so it's a little bit harder to use. So if you prefer it that way for whatever reason, you can turn this off. All right, number 10, you may already know about this, but in every single version of Android, there's always a secret game or Easter egg, and to get to it, it's usually the same. You go into the settings, and then go to About Phone or wherever it shows your Android version, and then you simply keep tapping on the number. In Android 9 here, you'll notice when you tap Android version, it pops up another thing, and this is actually where you keep tapping the number, where it just says 9. So you keep tapping on that, and it will pop up this fancy logo looking thing. You can tap it and it changes the colors. It will be very pretty, whatever. And when you keep tapping the screen a bunch of times, it'll actually bring up this little Microsoft Paint looking type thing where you can draw whatever. Pretty cool, not really useful, very rudimentary, but it's still cool that it is kind of hidden away and you can use it however you want. Obviously, this type of thing is more of a novelty, but each Android version, depending on the one you have, will be a little bit different, so it's just fun to check out. So those are 10 different secret Android features. Let us know down in the comments if I missed any, and also be sure to check down there because other people might know some that I did not. And I'll also put some other videos right here that you can click on with some other features about Android that I've talked about in the past.